In movies we usually watch, scientists use carbon dating to determine the age of ancient artifacts and dinosaur bones. But what is the real science behind carbon dating and how does it work? This will all be explained later in this video, so keep on watching! The main topics we'll discuss in this video is the basic principle of carbon dating. We have to know the whole big concept to fully understand. Next, we'll discuss on how carbon dating works to determine age of fossils and others. And finally, what does half-life have to do with carbon dating and how does it relate to determining the age? Allow me to explain to you the basic principle of carbon dating. This is a simple conclusion of how carbon-14 is formed and how it acts on living things, causing us to have the ability to determine the age of these living things once they die. First of all, the cosmic rays from the sun enter the Earth's atmosphere and collide with an atom, creating an energetic neutron. These neutrons then collide with nitrogen atoms, specifically nitrogen-14 in the air, and this collision turns the atoms into carbon-14. Now, plants on Earth absorb and incorporate carbon-14 from the air through photosynthesis, as well as animals and us humans absorb carbon-14 into our body systems. When we die or when plants and animals die, bones and woods are buried under the ground, causing them to lose carbon-14 as it slowly changes back into nitrogen-14 again through beta decay. So you've understood the whole concept of carbon-14 and carbon dating. Now we want to know how carbon-14 works in carbon dating to determine the age of these living things. Carbon-14 dating is a form of radiometric dating. So what is radiometric dating? It's about measuring the decay of a certain type of atom once found in a living organism to determine when it was last alive. As we are discussing about carbon-14 dating, we measure the decay of carbon-14 atoms in living things to determine when plants and humans and also animals were last alive. That's why anthropologists, a person engaged with the study of aspects of humans within past and present societies, consider carbon-14 a very important method in their career. With this method, they are able to determine the age of fossils from various animals and creatures from a very long time ago, and I'm talking about thousands of years ago.
Carbon-14, like all radioactive particles, has what's called a half-life. Now, the half-life is the amount of time it takes for the number of radioactive particles in a sample to decrease by half. From this, it allows us to easily calculate and predict the time of living things of when they were last alive. Carbon-14 has a half-life of 5,730 years. That means that after 5,730 years, the amount of carbon-14 atoms in a plant that you found fossilized will be half of what it was the last time that plant took a breath of life. After 11,460 years, which is 2 half-lives, there will be a quarter, which is 25% amount of carbon-14 that was originally present. And then after 17,190 years, you will have just about 12.5% of the number of carbon-14, and so on until there's none left. And this is actually one of the limitations of carbon-14 dating, that eventually you are going to go far enough back in time that all of the carbon-14 atoms have decayed. And you don't know whether this took place a day before or 1,100 years before, which means that time limit that you can date things using carbon-14 is roughly 50,000 years. But as long as you are trying to date something that lived on Earth within the last 50,000 years, you can figure out roughly when it was last alive. The way that you do that is by measuring the rate of decay of carbon-14 atoms compared to the slow and steady carbon-12 atoms that are also present in there.
So I think that's the end of this video. We hope you gained a little insight of what carbon dating really is. This is our team. I'm Rajia, one of the speakers, and just now speaking was Shafika. And a big great thanks to Aisha, Fatiha and Maliha as the editors for this video. If you have any questions, just go and DM us at our Instagram account stated. Thank you again and have a nice day!